Hey all, welcome to my first videotaped deck profile. I've done Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro videos in the past about different decks that I was kind of play testing, seeing if I wanted to invest in, but this is my first one that I'm actually recording in real life of a deck that I actually own, and the deck that I have played a lot with, and I've done actually quite well with. So the deck I have brought for you guys today is my very special, very near and dear to my heart, the FA Zoodiac. I didn't really start playing FAs though until Extreme Force, where I built an actual deck. It had coherent strategies and it actually got something done. And that's thanks to Auto Navigator and the Motorhome Transport Synchro Monster. So now that I have all the cards needed for the deck, now that I have my best list possible created, I'm very proud of this deck. I've taken it to a regionals even, and I actually didn't do that bad there. I'm gonna say that. So I actually went X2 at the last regional I went to, which is in Canada. So not as intense or usually as full as other past regionals in the States have been, but nevertheless still a great representation of how the deck could and will and have performed. So without any further ado, I want to get right into the deck profile. So let's start off with the main deck. I start off by playing FA Auto Navigator. Now this card is absolutely insane. You need to play it at 3. It's the combo maker for almost any FA strategy, and it has the beautiful ability of being used as link material for a link rebuild because it's level 1. So this is the really unfair card because it doesn't ever lose itself and you can loop it every single turn you need it. So Auto Navigator, while it's in the graveyard of the hand, can special summon itself out by when you control an FA monster that has a higher than its original level, and then it loses its level back down to its original, and this monster becomes the level that was reduced. So I have a lot of dice that I use to keep track of all the levels, because levels can be very confusing and very hard to keep track of when playing an FA deck. So for both my opponents and my benefit, I keep dice right next to the level to actually determine what level they are. The even better part about Auto Navigator is not only that it allows it to jump back onto the field whenever it's needed, it searches an FA field spell on summon, normal or special. So that's awesome, and you need your field spells. So this just absolutely starts off all the combos. Next up, I play 3 FA Hang On Mock. So this card is a really good level 4 monster. Basically, it's a walking Dark Law that's level 4. So you can normal summon it out, and it's unaffected by activated effects of opponent's monsters that are lower level or rank than itself. I wish it included Link, because Cerberus is a great way of getting rid of Hang On Mock. But Hang On Mock, while it's level 7 or higher, has the effect that any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. And this is absolutely my favorite card to summon when fighting a Trickstar Sky Striker deck. They have to deal with the Hang On Mock before they can make any other plays, or they just lose all their value. And this starts off the FA monsters that have the effect that they have their attack become their level times 300. So on summon this is only 1200, but it can quickly grow because anytime an FA spell or trap card is activated, they gain a level. Moving on to the next card, this is basically a different version of Hang On Mock. I play 3 copies of my FA Whipcrosser. So with FA Whipcrosser has, instead of the unaffected by monster effects, it actually makes your opponent pay 300 life points to activate the effect of a monster whose original level is lower than itself. And while Whipcrosser's level 7 or higher, it makes your opponent cannot discard or send cards from their hand to the graveyard to activate a card effect. So they can't use cards as costs, so this basically shuts down all hand traps when it's level 7 or higher, and that's absolutely beautiful if you don't want your play to be stopped. Now, I only play 2 FA Dark Dragsters because they can be very big bricks in the hand. Now, Dark Dragster is awesome because it can blow up a card on the field. So you can blow up your field spell and gain advantage, you can blow up another card on the field, and the only cost of that is its own level. You have to reduce it by 3. But like I said, it can be a brick because you need a level 7 or higher FA monster on the field in order to bring out Dark Dragster for the first time. After that happens, you can soul charge it back, monster born it back, pit stop it back, no problems. But the first summon, that's always the tricky part. And since it's so searchable, I only play 2. So that ends the FA monster lineup. Now we get into the Zoo lineup. So I play 2 Zoodiac Thoroughblades and 1 Zoodiac Ram. So Thoroughblade basically just nets you another draw. It's a really high attack Zoodiac, because most of them don't have very high attack. So Thoroughblade is one of the better ones to run, plus it can unclog your hand if you possibly have another Thoroughblade, or if you have a Barrage or something that you don't want in your hand that has Zoodiac in its name, you can discard it and draw a new card. And Ram is mostly just because I need another name in the deck, and it has 2000 defense, which is actually super hard for Trickstar to get over. That's super key. And if they do get over it, you can actually grab a different Zoodiac from your graveyard back onto the field. So I love this card. Moving on, we got 2 Cock-a-Doodle-Doos. Basically, this is a great way of starting out some plays, because this plus any level 4 monster on your first turn equals a Dawn Dragster, and Dawn Dragster is so key. It's your spell and trap and effect negation, and it's absolutely great to have it on the first turn for combo plays. So I play 2 Cock-a-Doodle-Doos because it's an easy special summon from the hand. And hey, if you're going second, you can even use it for a level 8 synchro play. I love it. I play 1 hand trap at 3 copies. The very powerful, the very -1 oriented Droll and Lockbird. So Droll and Lockbird absolutely shuts down the 2 best decks of the meta, and that's why I played at 3. I actually don't own Ash Blossom. It's really expensive. So this is kind of my replacement for that. Ash is absolutely great. I would definitely find a way to fit 2 of them in this deck if I had them. But for now, I definitely think Droll and Lockbird is a must to play in any competitive deck that can fit a little bit of leeway on that. And moving on to the spell lineup, we start out with the best field spell for the deck, FA City Grand Prix. This is your Spiral Resort, because it prevents your FA monsters from being targeted by card effects, which is very hard for a lot of decks to get around. And this has the effect, like all FA field spells, that when it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can search your deck for any FA card, except itself. And because that is so powerful of a search, it really allows you to set up for whatever you're trying to do. And this card has a very, very powerful effect. It allows all FA monsters on the field to gain 2 levels during the main phase and battle phases. So, during the main phase 1, the battle phase, and the main phase 2, all FA monsters on the field have 2 additional levels added to them. That starts out so many plays. It allows you to go into the different combos you need and increase the attack of all FA monsters you have, which can lead to a lot of attack. Just like before, we also have FA Off-Road Grand Prix, the only other good FA field spell. I played at 3. I think 6 is a perfect number of field spells for this deck, since you are destroying them very frequently and you are recurring a lot of resources that way. The key difference between FA Off-Road Grand Prix and City Grand Prix is that the level increase only lasts during the main phase, which is very key, because in the main phase, that's when you're starting to do all your combos. You need your monsters at their best levels. But this field spell does not have targeting protection. It actually has an effect when an FA monster is destroyed by battle, your opponent discards a random card. And that can put them in a very awkward situation, because they might not want to destroy an FA monster by battle if they have something very valuable in the hand that they weren't able to utilize during the first bit of their turn. Now, I've heard from so many people that when I flip up this next card, it absolutely changes the game. And I definitely feel that way too. So FA Test Run is a must-have at 3. Test Run allows you to target an FA monster you control, change its battle position, and then destroy a card on the field. Destroy any card on the field. It's absolutely insane. It's a quick play spell. You can play it from your hand on your turn and absolutely blow out the field, or you can use it as a great amount of protection by switching maybe your weak FA monster's defense position and then just pop a card on the field. It's absolutely insane. You can banish this card from the graveyard, target a card you control that's face up, destroy it, and if you do, special summon an FA monster from your deck. The plays this card allows by protecting your monsters and starting even more combos is a must. And then to finish off the FA spell lineup, I play a single copy of FA Pit Stop. So FA Pit Stop basically is a good Goblin Housekeeping in spell form. It lets you draw a card by reducing an FA monster's level by 2 for every pit stop in your graveyard plus 1. So since I only play 1, the best I can do is draw 1, but this is a great card to banish off Pot of Desires and then have Omega return to the graveyard, because its graveyard effect is that you can banish it from the graveyard and special summon an FA monster from that graveyard. Next up, we got the Zoo cards. We got 3 Zoodiac Barrage. This card is absolutely amazing. It's very susceptible to hand traps, but If your opponent ashes it, it stays on the field, so you can use it again next turn. But if they Ghost Ogre it, then it's definitely gone. But Zoodiac Barrage, you can blow up your own field spell, get a search for any FA card, and summon out a Zoodiac monster. It starts so many combos. And if you're in a real pinch, you can even blow up Zoodiac Barrage to bring out a Zoodiac monster from your deck. Also, if you have a Zoodiac Barrage just sitting in your spell and trap card zone, there's no other targets in your deck, it's not doing anything, you can use the test run that you might have in the graveyard to target Zoodiac Barrage, destroy Barrage since it's a face-up card, you don't really lose anything, and then you get a special summon off test run. It's perfect. And then I play 2 Pot of Desires. I think 2 is the perfect ratio for this deck. You have a lot of 3-ofs. You want to see Pot of Desires sometimes. You won't be able to resolve 3 ever. You can sometimes do 2, but the consistency of seeing it at ratio of 2, I think is perfect. Plus, if you banish a card that's important, Omega can easily return that to your graveyard, where it has its secondary effect. Next up, I play Monster Reborn and Soul Charge. Both very powerful cards. Monster Reborn is just that you're just like one card short for the combo you need. And Monster Reborn will get you there. And Soul Charge will just blow out the board. Next, I play 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is awesome because it can drop the Auto Navigator from your deck to your graveyard, and it has the effect in the grave, so it's basically just like a free search for Auto Navigator. And because it's just absolutely powerful and needed, 1 Raigeki, you can force a negation and absolutely destroy your opponent's field if they don't have one. Now, we're in a link format, and you gotta play to that. And that is why I play Scapegoat at 2. 3 I think is too much. You don't want to see it that often. It can really hinder plays if it comes up in multiples. You hardly ever resolve 2. I'd say you pretty much only resolve 1 usually, but you want to see it. So that's why I play 2. Moving on to the extra deck. I play 2 FA Dawn Dragsters. This is your negate any spell, any trap, any effect. It's absolutely insane. This is a generic monster, and just like the main monsters from the deck, this FA monster also gains 300 attack times its level. And the only cost for negating anything is the reduction of levels by 2. And as an added bonus, it also has piercing. I play this at 2 because I often go into a second one now that I no longer have Ancient Fairy Dragon. Oh, that hit on the ban list really hurt this deck. It really broke up a lot of 2-card, 3-card combos into 4-card combos now. But it can still manage to run semi-well. But with Ancient Fairy Dragon as the other level 7, this would have been a phenomenal deck. And then I played the 1 FA Motorhome Transport. I used to play this card at 2 because I really went into it a lot. Now I find myself going to more Link plays or Dawn Dragster plays, but FA Motorhome Transport is very powerful. Very few answers if you have this and City Grand Prix. So basically, if this card is level 11 or higher, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. And then if you have the field spell that prevents targeting, that's really difficult for them to get over. That's basically just only Kaiju can beat this thing. And not many things can beat it by battle either, because it comes out at 2700, and if you have a field spell on the field, it's coming out at 3300 attack, which is just monstrous. But if it's level 13 or higher, and yes, they can climb that high, once per turn you can target an FA monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Which is actually really great, especially if this doesn't occupy your extra monster zone. You can have some awesome plays going on. And then to finish off our synchro lineup, I play 1 Psyframe Lord Omega. I keep debating going at 2 for Psyframe Lord Omega, but since it can return itself, it's not really what I'm going for all the time. It is an absolute awesome play if you can have the cards to make it, but I think you need to play at least 1. I understand if you play 2. I'm playing at 1 just for the very tight space of this extra deck. A Totem Bird. So Totem Bird is really powerful because it allows another spell and trap card negation, and it allows you to kind of unclog your hand because it will put Auto Navigator in the grave. Cock-a-doodle-doo will also go to the grave because it's disease material now. Just so you know, a Navigator would search the field spell that you would play to bump it up to level 3. That's how it would get to Totem Bird. And then I actually do play a Zoodiac Xyz. I play the Zoodiac Chakanine. Now this card is really powerful because it basically is a 1-card Misradiant if you have a Zoodiac in the grave and 1 on the field. I really like that. It just nets you the 1 extra monster you need to sometimes finish off your combo. And I do actually play a Saryuja combo and a couple other FA monsters that can climb to level 7, including actually Dawn Dragster itself. It's really powerful to make Galaxy Tomahawk and just spam your board with tokens and go into a Saryuja play and fix those broken hands, because this deck really does benefit from a hand reset. And the reason why I'm making this deck profile right now, I have finally gotten myself a copy of Link Kuriboh. Link Kuriboh is insane in this deck because Auto Navigator is level 1 and it has so much utility being in the graveyard. So, Link Kuriboh, amazing. It makes it so when you summon out your powerful synchro monsters, they don't occupy that extra monster zone. Link Kuriboh will likely leave the field pretty soon, but then you aren't stuck with a motorhome in the extra monster zone, and that can make the whole game. And of course, just the Saryuja and Scapegoat plays. We play one Link Spider to go with that Link Kuriboh. I play a Proxy Dragon. Proxy Dragon's great because you can make it for protection, but it's also the most generic Link monster, and it can really help you just establish arrows when you're going for major combos because they're side to side. I was considering playing Nightmare Goblin instead of this, but Proxy Dragon is just super key. If I use my Mrs. Radiant, I won't be able to go into Borreload with Scapegoat, and that is the main reason why I play that. Then I also play a Great Fly and a Mrs. Radiant. So this is like a dueling duality right here. Great Fly hurts Earth monsters, Mrs. Radiant hurts Wind monsters. You play Earth and Wind in the main deck, but Great Fly you can use with Galaxy Tomahawk or your Cock-a-doodle-doo and one of your FA monsters if you don't want to go into a synchro play and you need some arrows down. Plus, if either are destroyed, you're usually netting some value because you can add one of your FA or Zoo monsters back to your hand. And then because we still need Link arrows down, I play the Underclock Taker. Still what I would feel is one of the best Link 2 monsters. It actually does close games. It allows me to use my massively overpowered attack stats of my FA monsters to just absolutely OTK. I used to play the Decode Talker. I decided I'm never really going for a Link 3. If I can go for a Link 3, I should keep the cards I have and go for a second better monster below a Link monster, or go for the full combo and go for a Link 4. Like our massively overpowered friend Borreload, who can easily take games. Borreload is insanely powerful. And then like I mentioned before, we do play Saryuja Skull Dread because it does fix the broken hands that this deck sometimes has. Saryuja is an absolute blowout card in this deck, and if you can make it, you usually want to make it. But that being said, you do not see it that often. That ends it for the extra deck. Let's move on to the side deck. I play 3, the Winged Dragon of Ra Spear Mode. This is absolutely the best counter to a Goki deck if you're going second. You want to play this and just clear their board. It's very good. I don't play that many hand traps. I don't have any Ash, or else I'd be playing some Ash. I don't think Effect Failure would fit any bit in this deck, and Infinite Permanence is way too expensive and not that good against all the other decks to really play. So my hard counter, is the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode. I think we're going to see a lot of Goki in the time to come. Even if Firewall gets banned, we're still going to see a ton of Goki. So the Winged Dragon of Ra, I think, is a must in any side deck. Next up, I play 2 copies of Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. This deck has a really hard time against rogue decks because they usually have some unfair, powerful monster that they can bring out. Well, Gameciel is the answer to that. Now, this is up to preference. I don't own a Gagaga Cowboy, and sometimes I find myself struggling to make it. So I, for game 3, side in Zoodiac Borbro. This is a great card because if you're able to just go second and attack directly with this, because a lot of times people want to go first in time just to kind of establish their own great way of summoning out Zoodiac Thoroughblade, having a 1600 direct attack monster, and then hopefully just close a game like that. I have closed 2 games in time like that in my recent locals. I think Shared Ride is an excellent card to side in against a lot of decks in the competitive scene right now. Shared Ride is just a different version of Maxi. It's a quick play spell card. It allows you to draw every time they add cards to their hand, and that means by deck or graveyard. If a card enters your opponent's hand, you get to draw a card. And I would say this deck struggles very heavily against Altergeist and just Floodgate decks. So we play 3 copies of Twin Twisters. There's a lot of cards in this deck that we don't mind discarding because they have graveyard effects, and Twin Twisters being a quick play spell that can blow up 2 cards is extremely important. We want to see maximum clearing of the back row, and Twin Twisters is perfect for that. And if your opponent does not have enough, maybe you can even blow up your own field spell with Twin Twister and get a new FA card in your hand. Twin Twister is an absolute must. And finally, for the side deck, I play 3 copies of Red Reboot. This was for the matchups against True Draco. They are still running around. They are quite deadly. And Ultrageist and Reincarnations can sometimes, if they have the Draw and Lock combo, Red Reboot is extremely key to saving you. So I don't side this in often. Red Reboot will allow you to actually play a turn without absolutely having Disruption destroy all your combos. So that ends off the side deck portion of this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope my first deck profile was a good one. Wasn't too many problems. Hope it turns out well. I had a blast doing it. And I really was just excited to show this deck profile. I love playing this deck. I hope other people can maybe experience how fun this deck is. It's actually a very good rogue option because no one knows how to counter this deck. I would not take this to Worlds, but it's a really fun deck if you want to just play with a couple friends or a not super competitive but still semi-competitive setting. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Dzeeff. He is one of my favorite YouTubers. I watch him and Simo all the time. They're most definitely the same person. And Dzeeff really made me think, how can I make this deck competitive and how can I make this my main deck I play? How can I make this something that isn't just going to make me auto lose every single game? So kudos to him. He did a great job with the profile that he made of this deck. Here's mine. I definitely agree that Ancient Fairy Dragon being gone really did hurt this deck, but I don't think it's dead. I think it's still a really good rogue option. So I'm going to link him below because he was an inspiration for a lot of this. And I hope to catch you guys in the next one. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them down below in the comment section, and I will be sure to answer them as quickly as I can and to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.